What did he do? He stuck to the process. Now, there ain't a motherfucker in the world that doesn't recognize who he is or his company. So when you feel like you've been doing it enough, I should have had success by now. What you're feeling is what everybody in the process of finding success goes through. Every person, every single person has that moment. But that same moment is the detour for people that don't have it in them to be successful because they say, all right, I've expected or successful right now. At this time, I should have been. And those that know what they're doing and they have a model that works are honest with themselves. It's okay. The only thing holding me back is me because I have something that works. I have to be responsible and realize what I'm doing is derailing myself. I'm trying to do something before the time I should, or doing it after the optimal time for doing it. So therefore, am I getting a true measurement of the model? No. But you are measuring yourself realistically that you have weaknesses that have to be addressed. But you want to fault the model. You want to fault the market. You want to fault the bullshit that's outside of yourself. And that's where the successful people separate themselves from that. They own it. They own that part of it. And they work on themselves diligently to refine themselves. Because once the model proves itself, it doesn't need to prove itself anymore. The operator has to prove himself or herself using it. And it has to be employed within the realm of the procedures and processes and limitations that the model is built on. First presented fair value gap is not designed to call the high of the fucking week. Did you ever hear me talk about it? No. When the first presented fair value gap forms today, it can't be the high of this week because it has range above and below it. But the same problem of using that very mechanism right then and there for that purpose, that's what you're doing with your model. You're demanding your model do something that's not equipped to do. And you're not going to recognize what I mean by saying that until you've done some time studying it. But once you find that model that you see, this is what you see doing or what you should be doing in price and how price is behaving, it keeps popping off the chart. You say, I don't know, I'm trying to learn this silver bullet shit. I'm trying to learn this Model 22. I'm looking at all these other playlists and shit. But this is, I keep seeing this breaker do this. That's your fucking model. That's your fucking model, man. If that's the thing that keeps jumping off of the chart, that's what I've been talking about all this fucking time. There is no perfect model. There's no fucking perfect model. There's no perfect PD array. There's no fucking perfect application of what I've taught. It's just what's perfectly suitable for you. Sounds incredible, doesn't it? That shouldn't be like that, ICT. Every one of your students should be doing the same thing. They should be saying the same thing about the same price action on the same time frame. Get the fuck out of here. That's how you know somebody doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. But I believed the same way when I was younger, that everybody that wins should have the same trade. And that buying pressure pushes price up, or selling pressure pushes it down. That's why it works like it does. That was the stupid infancy I had as a nobody. 20 years old out the gate, that was my first conspiracy thought. That's not true. Even in my own hands, I have an arsenal that I could be buying and selling, going short, going long, all different time frames, doing different models, and they all, absolutely all of them can be profitable doing all those things that are against all the other models. Which is why people that don't trade with our stuff can still be profitable. What's the separation? They're good risk managers because the things they believe, why price going up and down, it's a facade, it's a myth. But to them, it's acceptable because they trust the money management aspects will carry them through. And they warm up to the idea. In their hands, their perspective, it's true. Price is random. Using what they believe and they see in price action, I submit wholeheartedly that what they're doing and how they view price in those instances are absolutely randomized. But not here. That's not how it is here. I want to be in an area where all of the odds are in my favor. I want to be in a market that has all the odds in my favor. I want to be trading a model that's in price action, that fits the underlying narrative right now. That's why I have 81 things. Not all of those 81 things are going to agree for a buy or sell at that very moment. But all 81 of them are in the market every single fucking day. Every single day they're there. This guy's always got an excuse for why. You're fucking right, I do. You're right, I do. Wonderful observation skills you've got there. Absolutely stunning. The fucking obvious. But you don't need to be super mutant level like I was. I compensated for an extreme weakness. I was afraid I was going to miss the entries. I built it up in my head that I had to have the perfect entry. So my skill was honed on looking for perfect entries. That's why I can go in and execute at very precise levels, because my whole life was focused on the pursuit of that. Think about it. That's what you're seeing the fruits of. Where's my weakness? My exits. And it'll always be that way. I've accepted, as a 53-year-old man, soon to be in August, I've accepted the fact that what I do is still so fucking beyond the range of normal with everyone else that I'm still light years ahead of everything else. So my exits can be less stunning in my own eyes. But to all of you, you would love to have 0.25% of what it is I'm doing. And that's okay. That's good. That's a realistic aim. But if you listen to me, if you really listen to me when I'm teaching and talking like this, I'm helping you get out of your own fucking way. But you don't like the language I'm using. You don't like the fact that I sound like I'm bragging. You choke on all the little details that have no outcome or basis for the outcome that you're aiming for. You're distracting yourself. Why? Because you have a character flaw. You're not able to see value. You're not able to recognize real experience. You're not able to identify truth. And I veil that in a lot of long discussions that are helpful. But the truth is, you're not prepared to endure it. You want it easy. You want it, I'm in front of the charts. It's going to happen for me right now. Nobody's going to teach you better than I have when an opportunity is going to be there. You have never seen a motherfucker any time using any discipline that's going to tell you the time the trade's going to form. I was the first one to walk out there and do that shit. I was the first one to do that shit. 1996. This is when your trades form. Look at this range, this open, high, low, close, because back then that's what it was. It wasn't candles. Go and look at Street Smart's book, if you own it. Open up Short-Term Secrets to Long-Term Success, or Long-Term Trading, or whatever, something like that. I'm probably butchering the shit out of Larry's book, but you'll know what I'm talking about. Look at the candles, or the open, high, low, and close, and view them as a candlestick. None of those authors are making mention of that. But price is going right to them, halfway, stopping, going right down, and running to pools of liquidity. And none of those books, not anything in the past, was talking about that shit. Not one fucking book was doing it. But when I was looking at those books, that's what I was seeing. That's when that voice would say, look here. Look here. Look here. Look what it did there. Pay attention to this. It wasn't a conversation like I'm having with you. It was very short little unctions. A little bit of sometimes it was my own conscious voice, and sometimes it was a voice that I've never heard sound like anything else. But it's always been an encouraging voice. And I attribute that to the Holy Spirit. That's, I don't care what you believe, but that's what I believe. And when I submitted myself to it, it was always right. I'll leave that to you as to what you think it means, but I'm not perfect. But this voice was. And when I come out and I try to encourage you, I want you to know that I wrestled with that same stuff and more. Like, you go to work and you're a functioning employee, I would have anxiety attacks at my jobs. I would go to the bathroom. I would pretend I had an upset stomach when I didn't, just to go home. I would run from responsibilities. I would hide from responsibilities because I was wrestling with anxiety, which turned into agoraphobia. And that form of anxiety manifests itself in traders early on, and they don't recognize it. They hide it by resetting their account or resetting their funded account challenges, talking nothing about what they just endured, but making no effort to change what they just endured. They're the problem. I was my problem. How I thought was my core problem. I thought the things I was fearful of and obsessively thinking about what I needed to have right now, or I'm not successful, or finding success, or progressing in the right direction. I allowed those thoughts, those self-defeating thoughts, those questionable outcomes, the what if thinking, and it's always negative. I let that stuff dictate how I live my life. And I invited fear to grip me and hold me in a death grip and choke me out every single day. And to the point, my whole existence was my bedroom. And I got fearful of even looking at the markets or charts. I had anxiety attacks about putting on what we know as CNBC now. I didn't want to hear what the price was doing. I was having anxiety attacks, and I wasn't even in trades anymore. In between accounts that were blown, I'm having an anxiety attack about a trade I'm not even in. What if it goes up there and I was right the whole time and I didn't do anything about it? That's next level misery. Let's call it what it is. Like, that's misery. And if you don't correct that, even when you do find success, success isn't enough. So you get comfortable with taking stupid risks because the adrenaline rush of doing that compensates for the pain for not accepting the fact that you make bad mistakes or you mess it up in terms of your progress, and you second guess yourself. That's what I think, honestly, Jesse Livermore did. I think he realized that he just had a flash in the pan run of luck, and he was experiencing the shit in his hands that he couldn't make it work, and said, fuck it, I can't accept it anymore. I don't want to go through this pain anymore, and blow his brains out. And you all champion that guy. He suffered from mental illness. I feigned a mental illness so that way it's part of my character online. I am not, absolutely not bipolar. I have no mental illness. Some of you that talk that shit, you bought everything I've ever done as a character online. I own you. I should get the Academy fucking award. You believe everything I put out there and showed myself as a character. That's wonderful. Thank you for the compliment. But it's funny how people look at these giants in the industry and they all have character flaws, huge character flaws, but you champion them. I'm team Gann. I'm team White Cloth. I'm team whatever the fuck anybody else talks about. And you don't know these people. You don't know what they wrestled with. You don't know. Just like nobody should know what you're going through. Don't give them what you fear most. Don't put that out there in the ether. Because the devil is like the lion that roams the earth, seeking whom he may devour. And if you lay down a fear, make it known, you made his job easy. You made his job easy. He don't even need to do that. He can just send a minion and torment you. You could be tormented by a spirit of torment, and that spirit constantly digs at you, and you set a table at your home for it every day and don't even realize it. You set up an altar in your mind, worshiping it, giving it homage. That, hey, you're right. I'm never going to get it because I'm never going to be successful. Why should I bother? It's normal for me to feel like this. It's normal for me to wake up and feel anxiety. The day I wake up and I don't feel anxious, something's broken, something's wrong. That's not normal for me not to feel anxious. That's how I lived my life in my 20s and early 30s. Even making money, I lived like that. Think about that. That's not healthy, happy living. That's me regretting that I didn't do the right things and change myself sooner and living in yesterday wishing I did it differently. You can't live like that, folks. You can't live like that and have a healthy outlook on your own progress. You won't recognize it. So you have to be your best cheerleader. You have to guard yourself from anybody else's influence. Look what the devil does. That's his job. He's the accuser. And you're literally going on social media among devils, hateful people that hate their life. They don't want to see anybody succeed. And you're literally putting out there your weaknesses, the things that you struggle with. And you're wondering why things get worse. You regret, oh, I wish I never would have said that. Right. If you just would have listened to me. All of us have fears and what of thinking. Can I be honest with you and share some of them with you about my own? Can I do that? Would you be interested in hearing that? Would you be interested in knowing what I'm fearful of? Here's my fear, okay? And it's not a soul-crushing fear. It's just, it is what it is. I'll tell you. I spent thousands of hours making the content that I've made to pretty much guarantee if God chose to take me out before the rapture, before I think I'm going to reach a specific age, and he just says, it's time for you to go. You're done. You're done and you're coming home. If I didn't lay down this compendium of perspective, teaching, logic, not just in the charts, but how you're supposed to think, my fear is that my children will never arrive at what I know they can be. I have what I am is I'm enigma. I am it. I'm the algorithm. I am it. When you look at price, you're looking at me. And that one cut deep, didn't it? My fear is that none of my kids will fully apply themselves to be more than I am. That's my fear. That I have been given this. I've had the luxuries and the pleasures of living off of it, employing it, being the author and face of it all. But that's it. None of my children will do anything with it. That's the only fear I have as it relates to trading. And if they never do, well, I mean, it doesn't change how I live, but it is a regretful thing for me because I pour myself into these lectures because, again, I'm picturing them at their job, but you think I'm picturing you at your job. I'm picturing them looking at how expensive things are. And even though dad helps them out here and there and buys a couple of things extra for their pantry to get them through for the week of the month, I'm wanting them to feel that discomfort. Sure, they can trust dad ain't gonna let them go hungry, but I'm letting them feel that discomfort. What if the day comes when dad's not here? That's what I want them to think. I want them to think, I have all of the advantages right now that all of you would love to have time with me. You would love to be able to sit down with me and just pick my brain and say, what do you think about this? And what do you think about that? And just really just deep dive into whatever you can ask of me. And these are my own children. Do you know not one of my kids ever do that? Now, I'll get texts all the time. Dad, what's it mean when the Bible says this? Or they'll show me a video. Is this person right about this and that? Which I'm thankful for. I mean, and really, in terms of priority, I think that's the best. I mean, my opinion about the word is better than what I think about trading. That's first. They're seeking the kingdom first, and then everything else will be added unto them. But as a dad, as Daddy ICT, in the truest form, it's my children I'm speaking to, and all of this work has been laid down for them to be able to tap into all the time. But my fear is I won't ever see them be who I know they can be. Way better than me. Way better. Because they didn't fall victim to the problems that I put myself through. And they have all the advantages of being my children, and I'm not going to hold back anything from them. Ask yourself why they don't take advantage of it, because I tried to figure it out myself. I don't know.